Hey everybody, how you doing today? Welcome to Bones Collector. I would like to talk today and weigh in on a game that's been out for a while now, but man, it created a huge buzz when it came out, and that's Pandemic Legacy. It's an amazing game, and probably what I'm going to say isn't going to differ too much from what you've heard already, except part of what I'm going to say is probably going to differ from what you've heard already. So you have to watch the whole episode here. It's going to be very quick. But Pandemic Legacy is one of the most popular board games out there right now. It's very high on Board Game Geek. I don't know, second or third or something. And so people are in love with it. They're in love with the game. And my wife, Nina, and I just played this a few weeks back. Well, it's been 4 or 5 weeks, I guess, sometime before Christmas. But we enjoyed it very much. It's true. It's a great game. It's a great board game design. Everything they're saying about it as far as gameplay is terrific. And I don't want to spoil any of this because there's a lot of people that haven't played this game, and if you spoil it, tell certain things about the game, it spoils the game because it's unique to everyone. That's what a legacy game is. It's kind of unique to the way you play it, the way your game comes out is going to be unique to just your game. So when you tell things about the game, it kind of spoils that. But I will say we were undefeated in the game, Nina and I, and we almost lost a couple times. We were on 7 outbreaks twice and really had to slow down, stop and think, and make sure that we made the right moves to save ourselves. And we managed to do that. So we managed to make it through Pandemic Legacy undefeated. And you will play, I'm sure everybody knows this, you're going to play 12 games of Pandemic. And that's what the game is about. And the game, the things I like about the game are that it ramps up as you play it. It just continually ramps up. It gets more difficult and more difficult and more exciting. As you go through the months and play each game, it just changes. The objectives change. It just makes for an absolutely unique gaming experience. I mean, you're not going to find it anywhere else. Just because you're going to place stickers on the board and change the board so that it's just about your game, and no other game of Pandemic Legacy is going to be like it that other people play. So it's going to be, it's going to be tailor-made to the decisions that you make during this game, and that's one of the things I love about it, and that's one of the things everybody loves about it. The objectives change. There are things in the game that you do to help yourself as you start out, and then it changes, and those things hurt you later on. So you're going to have to shift gears, and man, that's incredible. It's an incredible feeling to go, oh my gosh, we can't do everything that we've built now. We've got to shift gears and go in a different direction. So that's kind of freaky. It's a freaky thing in a board game. And so you, as you go along, you have to really be aware of those things that are going to change on you, and that's what makes Pandemic Legacy so beautiful. It's a great board game designed by Matt Laycock. Of course, Pandemic, the original, I love, and it's in my 200 game library. Pandemic Iberia, it's easy for you to say, but Pandemic Iberia is also in my 200 game library. I love both those games, and I'll play them forever, and I love them. They're excellent games, and Matt Laycock's getting a lot of mileage out of that whole Pandemic engine. I mean, there's Pandemic Cthulhu, and now there's Pandemic Fall of Rome, of course, Pandemic Legacy. So he's really, he's riding that horse quite a bit. But we're in love with the game. We've always loved it. We consider ourselves Pandemic experts because we play it all the time, and as much as we possibly can, and it's a great game for new people to play because it's cooperative. So Pandemic Legacy is just an offshoot of that, and it's done in a way that it's a legacy game, which means you're only going to play it, you're going to go through the game one time. And that's, there's some little tiny things about the game that kind of bothered me. which my tablet's kind of, my notes disappeared, so I must have taken too long, or... Okay. There we go. Anyway, some of the tiny things that I don't or complain about was a few of the gameplay mechanisms. The scratch-off cards I really didn't like. My wife, every time she had to scratch it off, the stuff went all over our game mat. And eventually, you have to go to a location somewhere, you know, whether it's outside or on a counter where you can wipe up the stuff from the scratch-offs, you know, just like you would a lottery ticket or something. But those were just a little bit annoying. And then another thing about this game, I don't know if it's possible, but it could have been made a bit shorter. I mean, 12 games of Pandemic is going to take you quite a while, and it did take us a while. I mean, we had it on the table. I mean, we both work, and we had it on our game table for quite a while. But so that you're going to be involved in it, and you're going to play it for, you know, 12 games of Pandemic is going to take you, you know, 12 to 15 hours. So that's something to think about also. I think as the game went on, you start to get a little bit, you know, sick of playing the same game, because that's really what you're doing. And so that can be a little tedious at times. Even though it's changing, you know, you're still playing Pandemic, and I think sometimes it after a while it gets on your nerves a little bit. But I think the thing I dislike the most about this game, and why I would never buy Season 2 or Season 3 or however many seasons they're going to make, is the waste of it all. This game box is, I'm just gonna, everything that's left over, I just don't have some place to store things. I live in a small home, and I don't have any place to put something that doesn't have a purpose. So this is just going to go in the trash. And I imagine there's going to be thousands of copies of Pandemic Legacy in landfills. And that's where I really have the biggest problem with this game. And I've just had people tell me, well, you can use the board or you can use the components for this, that, and the other thing. But I don't have a place. All my games have components. I don't have to have spare components. So I don't need to store this stuff. I'm never going to use it, and I don't want to store it. And the waste is just difficult for someone my age, and I'm 63 years old, to deal with. I don't like waste. And you know, I have children and I have grandchildren, and waste is something, it's a bad word, especially with the growing population on this planet. I mean, come on, let's face it. If you're not aware of your world, the world around you, you need to kind of get aware. And putting things like this out that just are going to find their way to the landfill is a bad idea, I think. And I don't mean to offend anybody or Matt Laycock. It's a great game. I just can't get past that. And I won't be purchasing, nor would I advise anyone to purchase this game or any of the following seasons of Pandemic Legacy. I think there might be a way around that. I thought about it, and if Z-Man Games, who is the publisher of this game, were to make it possible for me to mail this back to them when I'm done playing, postage free, you know, I don't know how they would pull that off. If they could put a box in here and I could stick everything I had left over in there, mail it back to Z-Man Games. Hey, you make games for a living. That's what you do. I'm sure you'd want to have these components back, and you can put them in another game of Pandemic Legacy and sell them to some other guy. And I think that might be the answer. And I don't know, maybe, you know, maybe someone out there has an answer, but I don't like destroying. In this game, you're going to destroy things as you go along and put stickers on the board, and you're not going to be able to take them off. I mean, it is what it is and it's a great gaming experience. Don't get me wrong, but that's not where the problem comes. The problem comes with the waste afterwards. And I don't know, maybe somebody can think of something to do about that. But I can see all these games, or a lot of them, ending up in a landfill somewhere just because you can't use them again. And I'm not going to use it again. I'm not going to play it again. So that's the hurdle that I personally have to get over. That's just me. And so I just can't say, hey, I would never advise anybody to go buy this game just for that reason, even though it's a great game. And I wanted to play it. I wanted to be able to know what I was talking about. And before I talked about it, because it is so popular with so many people. And it was a great gaming experience, but that's it. I'm just, I'm done with it. It's going in the trash, and like so many other copies of this game, and I won't be purchasing any more. I'm glad I played it, but I'm done purchasing this Legacy game and any other Legacy game that is not rechargeable, that I can't go back and reset it. So yeah, hey, that's the Bones Collector's opinion. For what it's worth, I'm sure you might feel differently about it, but that's how I feel. And great game, but not a good idea. Thanks, and have a great day.